Okay, so initially we had a small problem trying to deploy this contract to the account that we had created, and the reason was I realized that when we started Docker with the docker run command, we specified a particular folder structure for which cleos and the nodios running on our Docker would expect to fetch the contracts from. So during the course of the project, I think I modified the folder structure and forgot to to make the corresponding changes to the Docker config. So what happened is Docker was expecting us to have a particular folder structure, and we had a different folder structure. So that's why when we were trying to set the contract, we were running into an error that we cannot be able to find the worst files and the WASM files for that matter. So now we have a fixed folder structure that adheres to whatever we had set up initially on the Docker command. So I expect that this should work flawlessly. So I'm going to remove the compiled code, the blog ABI and the blog WASM files for clarity, so that now we just have our blog.cpp. So we can see what is in our blog.cpp file. We just have the same code we initially had. There is no changes. We have the hashtag include, EOSIO lib, EOSIO HPP. We have the class blog. We have this action post that expects an account name parameter called poster and a string called content, and it requires that whoever is has been passed here as the first parameter to sign this transaction, and then after that it will print the content that was submitted by this particular account name. So that's all for that. I expect that we are going to compile this with the EOSIO CPP and everything will go just fine. So EOSIO CPP -o blog.wasm, sorry, it's supposed to be blog.wasm, and then blog.cpp, and then we need the ABI as well. So that should work just fine. So now we have the ABI. we can check it out. Blog ABI. We have this struct. Name is post. There's field name, which is poster. The type, it's an account name. Then we have the content, which is of type string. Then the actions, we have an action called post with no Ricardian contracts or Ricardian clauses for that matter. I think we will also look at how to write Ricardian contracts and Ricardian clauses in the next series of walkthroughs. So what I want us to do is I need to create an account that will hold the code for this contract. So let me see the keys I have inside this wallet. We have this. I'm going to reuse this key. I'm going to create account blog, let's call it blog 3. Okay, here the initial guy creating this account is EOSIO. Then the keys, we pass in the key for that account. So we now have a new account called blog 3 with these keys. So what we're going to do is we're going to deploy this contract to this account that we've created. So we use the cleos set contract command, and we are setting this contract to this account blog 3, and where the path to the compiled code is in virtual contracts blog. Yeah, so that is where the code is. So we run this, and the transaction has been executed successfully. This is the transaction ID. We can actually view what has happened in that transaction object using this transaction ID. So EOSIO it set the code to account blog 3 VM type 0. This is just EOSIO, the account EOSIO, setting the code and the ABI to the account that we've created. So we can actually get the details of this transaction using cleos get transaction. That we can be able to see what happened in this transaction. Okay, most of this is just gibberish, but there are some things we can be able to see. We have this signature. Okay, we have this signature. We have this transaction object. We can see which account has set the code for this smart contract, and who has authorized it. It's the blog 3 account that has authorized that transaction. We have some other stuff here as well. Here we can see EOSIO setting the ABI, and the data is this account, the blog 3 account. Then the ABI, it's some hex value there that we can't be able to see. So, and here is the signature as well, so you can be able to see what is happening here, as well as we can be able to see we can be able to get ABI for this account blog 3, and you can be able to see that and our blog.abi, they really resemble each other because we've just taken this and deployed it to the chain. So as you can see, we now have a smart contract deployed successfully to this account blog 3. So now what we want to do is we want to push a post action to that smart contract using the blog 3 account to do so. So cleos push action, we're going to push action to each account blog 3. Which action are we pushing to? Post. What are we posting? We are posting, we have this account called poster account. I just created an account called poster account, and what this poster account guy is saying is hello. This should be my first blog post on EOS. So just something like that. Then we set that, and then because when you look at our code, we have restricted that we need we are requiring the signature of this whichever account name has been passed in here in this post action. So what happens is we come here, we will require the signature of this poster account guy. Okay, then we enter, and we can be able to see that it has executed this transaction with this ID, and it's blog 3. The action is post, and this is what has been pushed to the chain. The poster is this poster account guy, the content is this. So for instance, if we remove that permission, we will run into an error because we don't have a permission set. So you can see the error here that the transaction should have at least one required authority. So we need to have this, whoever this is that is signing this transaction. Okay, there is also another account called blog. I think I can use that here, just to show you what happens if I try to fake the signature of blog. Like I'm saying that it's blog who is making this post, but I'm the one who is signing. So poster account. So we will also get an error that missing the required authority. So if I use blog, the account called blog, I must make sure that it's blog who is signing that transaction so that it goes through. Okay, yeah, so that is I think we've been able to, one, code the smart contract, two, deploy it to an account on the chain, and number three, we've been able to interact with the post action. So what we can do is we can get the actions, get actions for this particular account blog 3, we can be able to see that the first action is setting code and setting ABI. This happened when we were deploying the smart contract to this account. And then as you can see here, these are actions that we've made using the other accounts, but we are pushing these actions to the account blog 3 because it's the one that holds the smart contract for our blog. So we can also get the actions of cleos get action for this guy, poster account. So you can be able to see that okay, this one was initial. I had tested this account with another action. So this is the most recent account action for this guy. If we run another let's run another post action, and we change this content to something like testing the retrieval of actions. Then I try get the actions for this poster account. You'll be able to see that this action, you can be able now to see the latest action of this guy, testing the retrieval of blah blah blah. So that is how you interact with the smart contract, and that is how you can also get the actions that a particular account has performed. So I think that is all for now. We will try improve this contract so that we also have other actions, so that it gets as real as possible in this situation. So thank you guys for your time, and see you in the next